Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. This is day 2, and it's Unlock the Secret, how to get called back without the stalker vibe. And again, this is day 2, part 2. If you've not listened to part 1, please do so. It was just yesterday, easy enough to find. So Julie, let's jump right back in, and we are on point number 6.
Point number 6, we're talking about your leads, following up on them, how to get called back without feeling like a stalker or with them thinking that. All right, point number 6, let them know when you'll follow up. When you call or email a prospect, remember, you previously have asked them how they would like to be communicated with. However you're doing that, let them know exactly when you'll follow up, and then you stick to it. This shows that you're a planner, that you're reliable, that you're transparent. However, if somebody is intent on ignoring you, they're unlikely to become a buyer anyway. Okay?
So when you're feeling like, let's make this to a very simple system. And I know there's very elaborate CRMs that do this, but really, guys, let's just be real direct here. If you're using your CRM to do a lot of long-term lead follow-up for a lot of leads, you're probably not doing the right thing. As we discussed yesterday, for every 100 people you put into a CRM to a drip campaign, generally speaking, only 10 of them are actually, frankly, worth following up on in the first place. And you're not going to know unless on that initial contact you've actually pre-qualified them. And what are you going to say? How are you going to say it? Some of you are winging it. What a lot of you are doing is you're just putting them in drip campaigns, hoping and praying that the drip campaign is going to somehow over time win them to you as a client. Doesn't work that way. Never has worked that way. Never will work that way. You have to call everyone back. Call. And you have to then, obviously use our pre-qualifying scripts. Now, let me give you 2 little suggestions here. If someone messages you, maybe it's Instagram, doesn't matter what, Facebook Messenger, however they've gotten a hold of you, even an email, I want you to call them back. Call them back. Oh, Tim, there's a rule. Who the hell said this rule, by the way? I know
what you're going to say. I hate this.
You're only supposed to communicate with people how they have originally communicated with you. That is dumb. You want to call every single person back. A phone call is going to show that you're urgent, that you're a professional, and you're also then going to be able to pre-qualify them, which you'll never be able to do off Facebook Messenger. So what you do is it does not matter how you get the message, how they originally communicated with you. And if you don't have their phone number, or frankly, you can't easily find it, because sometimes you can, it's in their email, or you could just do a quick Google search and find their phone number. But if that's not the case, I want you to ask for their phone number in that initial communication. Like if someone messages you on Instagram, a lot of you guys message Julie and I Instagram, or at timandjulieharris.com if you want to follow us on Instagram, and you'll send us messages and show ideas and a lot of nice things, which we always appreciate. What I'll do is if you're asking me for a question that I can't easily resolve, or someone on our staff can't, I'm going to ask for your phone number, and then you're probably going to get a call back from someone on our staff. If it's your current client, you can't find something on our website or whatever, Christine will call you back, that sort of thing. But we're always going to lean into the phone number. And again, that is going to set you apart in the eyes of the prospective consumer, of that prospective seller or the buyer, because you're taking the conversation to the next level. And I want you to think about from their perspective. You're asking for the phone number. If they're not willing to give you a phone number, they're kind of disqualifying themselves as being somebody who's viable. Or if you ask for a phone number and they give it to you, they're actually taking the next step in your relationship. And at that point, it's your game to lose. So you call them up, and then you use our pre-qualifying scripts. That's how you're supposed to work this process. Again, move away from the fantasy that your goal is to have 1 billion people in your lead follow-up system, and if you drip on them enough, somehow magic, and write enough fancy emails and send them enough cute dog videos that somehow they're going to raise their hand and say, I want to do business with you. That works in such small numbers that it's honestly, if you stop doing it altogether, you would see no downside to your business. So definitely make the phone call. Definitely use our pre-qualifying scripts. Oh, but I know the challenge. You don't have our pre-qualifying scripts. Well, let me give them to you. Join Premier Coaching. It's very easy to go do so. Just go to premiercoaching.com or text the word Premier to 47372. Either way is going to get you to the same website. And join Premier Coaching for the first 30 days. 4 weeks. And that includes a daily semi-private coaching call with one of our Harris certified coaches. And you will jump right into the first level, which is completely free. And you can get all, not all the scripts, but certainly a lot of the scripts, real estate treasure map, a lot of the other things that we talk about on this podcast. We are doing our best to help you in this challenging market. It's up to you now to take advantage of what we're offering you. So text the word Premier to 47372 or just go to premiercoaching.com. Julie, point number 7.
Point number 7, make a personal connection wherever possible. Prospects prefer working with people who make them comfortable. Personalized communication often performs better. This is where social media can help you sometimes. Spend 10 minutes reviewing their social media so you can get them to know them a little bit better. For example, if all of their posts are about their kids, they're probably motivated by a smooth transition with their move, perhaps more space and a better backyard.
Tell us about their personality style too.
Well, absolutely, 100%. If they're posting only about how stressed out they are, you might communicate differently as well. Know your audience and adjust accordingly.
Or if they're posting stuff that might be a little bit crazy, maybe you decide not to call them back at all. I mean, they can pre-qualify themselves before you call them back as somebody you don't want to have anything to do with. That's fine.
This is true.
And dear listener, I have news for you. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I will. So occasionally, Julie opens up her personal schedule for new private coaching clients. And she has her personal schedule open now for 3 prospective coaching clients. And I'm going to tell you the process. You guys text me directly. If you're interested in being coached by, which many people consider to be the number 1 real estate coach in the nation, Julie Harris, text me at 512-758-0206. 512-758-0206. And in the text, give me a little bit of information about yourself and your real estate business. Now, here's the process. Here's how this works. After you've done that, I'm going to, we'll text back, maybe have a real short text communication. And then the next call you're going to get is either from Julie or from her scheduler, or it's going to be a text basically scheduling you into her schedule. And you're going to have a call where you're going to decide whether you want her as your coach and frankly, whether she wants you as her coach. That's the process. But you've got to understand, Julie, we have Premier Coaching. That's for everybody. Our elite coaching with Julie is not for everybody. It's only for a handful of you. And that's the reason that she's only, frankly, looking for 3 coaching clients. Now, the process is very simple. What am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to text. That takes action. I'm asking you to then give me a little bit of information about yourself. That takes action. That tells me that you're serious about having Julie as your coach. You guys can do things similar when you're actually texting people to get their phone numbers. You can do a little bit of pre-qualifying and solidify that relationship so that you can gauge whether or not they're actually serious. So if one of you texts me and you say you're interested in having Julie as your coach, and I text, and that's all the information you give me, and I say, well, let me know a little bit about your real estate business, and you never get back, I have news for you. We're not going to follow up with you.
Nope.
That's going to be the end of it. God bless you, but that's the way it's going to work. And you should think of it the same way. I know it's counterintuitive, but when you're pre-qualifying, you're actually looking for ways that they're going to unqualify themselves or not qualify for you to actually work with. Otherwise, you're going to end up working with a bunch of people that are never going to transact. Some of you might think you have winning personality and you have some sort of, special je ne sais quoi or ninja skill that's going to get somebody who's not motivated to be motivated. Why bother? Even if it's true, even if you do have some sort of secret sauce, why bother? Just look for the ones that are actually qualified. Don't try to make someone who's unqualified or unmotivated into someone who's qualified and motivated. There are enough out there that want to buy or sell. You have to make it so they're buying or selling with you. So don't waste your time with folks that aren't going to transact. Ask the pre-qualifying questions. I had somebody when Julie and I were on our trip recently, California, asking me questions about what? The commission sharing lawsuit, of course. And so I answered the questions and then I went and I was doing a little bit of pre-qualifying of this person. And it turns out this person has been working with some, I'm going to say it, poor agent for like 6 months, looking at homes, and I asked, well, how soon, if you find the right home, I immediately go into pre-qualifying questions. Ideally, if this agent shows you all the right home that matches 90% of what you're looking for, condition, location, price, everything about it is exactly what you've been looking for. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate your motivation to purchase the house, right away? And the person said like a 3 or 4. And that's not a buyer.
That's just wanted to see houses.
That's a looker. Yeah, that's somebody who wants to see houses. And I said, well, okay, that's interesting. Well, what will it take to get you to a 10? I can't not think like this. So I immediately go to our scripts. And this person said, well, they're waiting for something else to sell, or it was some big liquidity event, which was going to result in them actually having
which had not happened yet.
Which had not happened. To which then I asked, well, when do you think that'll happen? They had no date. Okay? But here's the thing I was thinking about the whole time. That buyer, without knowing it, was wasting that agent's time. That agent had a family. That agent was leaving losing life energy and time they could have been spending with other people that were actually going to transact.
And thought of him as a lead.
Right, because they didn't pre-qualify him.
Right.
They didn't know that this person was probably not going to transact, and if they were, it would be sometime in the distant future. And they thought that person was going to be, somebody that was going to, buy or sell and then result in them making income so that they could then, pay their bills, but not the case. That's because they were not following a system. They were not pre-qualifying. Don't be like that agent. And most buyers out there are going to, frankly, not be motivated. That's the reason ultimately you need to pre-qualify them. And then what we really want you to do, and we teach you to do this in Premier Coaching, is to focus all your best energies on becoming a listing agent. But that's what you're going to learn more about when you text the word Premier to 47372 or you go to premiercoaching.com. Point number 8, Julie.
Point number 8, again, we're talking about how to get your leads to call you back, assuming you didn't answer the phone in the first place. Okay, use humor. Using humor can be a great way to make a prospect more willing to respond, provided it's done effectively and tastefully. Whether it's a playful twist in your emails or a bit of comedy in your calls, humor can differentiate you from other salespeople. Remember, humor should, of course, be harmless or self-deprecating, not making fun of the prospect or doing something off color.
For example, we write some humorous things, at least we thought they were humorous, in our scripts. And one of the questions is, again, ideally, how soon, I'm going to flip to talking to a seller. So, Mr. Seller, ideally, how soon do you want this property sold? If I brought a buyer by that wanted to purchase the house at your price, everything was right. No issues with the appraisal, no issues with the inspection, no issues whatsoever. In other words, this is the buyer you've been hoping for. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated would you be to accept that offer from that prospective buyer? And if they say anything other than a 10, I'd say, well, that's interesting. What's standing in your way? And then you're going to find out what their motivation is. I don't have a place to go. My new home's not done for 6 months. Those types of things. But not asking questions like that is going to create problems. Now, what some sellers are going to do is they're going to try to play their cards close to their chest. They're going to say, well, bring me a buyer by. You'll get this a lot with a for sale by owner. Bring a buyer by and we'll just have to see. And then you can use humor. You can say, well, Mr. Seller, I appreciate that. But so listen, here's the deal. If I brought a buyer by and wanted to purchase the house, it sounds like you consider selling it to him right away. But I'm a little worried about you. Can I tell you why? And the reason is because, look, I do have a spare bedroom in my basement and there's a couch that folds out into a bed. But by last count, you have a family of 5 people and 2 dogs and 3 horses. And I'm pretty sure you all aren't going to be comfortable in my basement, but you're more than welcome to use it. So before I make you homeless and bring this buyer by, where were you thinking about going next?
That's a fun way of using humor plus the script. When it sells, where are you going next? But you made it easier for that, in this case, FSBO prospect, to answer you because you had a kind of a fun ramp up that was conversational. You can do that in your follow-up as well. Okay. The next point.
Point 9.
Point number 9, mix it up. When all else fails, take some risks. This could mean making an unannounced pop-by visit, sending a handwritten note with a gift, or trying something dramatic in an email or a call. Again, keeping it tasteful. The worst thing you can do is not make every effort to get your prospect's attention, especially if they're a perfect fit for your business. Stay respectful and within legal boundaries, of course, but you can mix it up. Mix it up means many different things. The way you communicate, handwritten note, pop-by, things like that. What you're saying, the time of day you're saying it. We used to find people, we grew up in the land of Buckeye football, right? So when we were doing pop-bys or we're doing like a Thanksgiving pop-by, we knew that everybody would be at home on a Buckeye football day, Saturday morning, perfect. Everybody's home all the time. The biggest problem was getting back out of their house in 20 minutes or less, right? So that was a way of mixing it up.
What you're saying is you go to their door and we would wear our Buckeye football swag, even though we were out there, in the cold November day, working. And then as soon as they saw us there, they invited us in and tried to have us watch a football game with them. And we're like, we have, 10 doors we're going to go check up on. This really worked in the upper ends, by the way.
Yes.
Because again, you're working when other people aren't working. You're making an effort that other agents aren't making. You're leaving an impression on these folks that other people aren't doing. This is the way that you differentiate yourself in the market, any price range. But though does seem counterintuitive, especially the upper end price ranges, especially when you're dealing with really high end clients, because they can the difference between the service level that you're going to provide when you follow our coaching versus everybody else. Everybody else is going to be conditioned to provide target level customer service. That's what everyone teaches. We want to teach you how to go above and beyond so that you really stand out in the eyes of that prospective consumer. That is how you build a brand, guys. Not by telling them what you are. You show them who you are and how much you care. That's the difference.
That's absolutely right. I'm glad that you mentioned about the higher end pop buys and things of that nature. One of my private coaching clients, Jeannie Adinolfi in Phoenix, she prospects her own neighborhood, which is, I'd say, like 700 to maybe 1,700,000. And people are always home. She always makes great connections. They know her to be a neighbor. You know, she has real conversations about real estate. And because she's fairly consistent about that, pretty much every time that she goes out with her daughter, helps her sometimes. She comes back with 1 or 2 listing leads.
Well, Julie, let's tell them a personal experience that I know might make some of them uncomfortable, but such is the way.
Such is the way.
So you and I were just in Monaco.
Yes.
Okay. How about that? So we're a couple poor kids.
That's a great sentence, by the way.
I love it. I love saying it. So we're a couple poor kids from Columbus, Ohio. All right, you know, we've been married for 33 years this year. When we got started, got married and built our essentially where we are to get dirt broke. Okay, so trust me when I tell you that saying we were just in Monaco to me is like a dream statement, and there we were in Monaco. So here's the thing that we knew, but we hadn't experienced. So Monaco has the highest percent of millionaires and multimillionaires and billionaires in any country on planet Earth. The density of ultra rich people is off the charts. And when Julie and I were there, we wanted to have all these ultra high experiences so that we could frankly better ourselves, have the experience, and then share it all with you. And here's what we learned. Every single place you went, whether it be Hermes, whether it be the Ferrari dealer, whether it be, Palace Monaco, wherever the hell it was, like where you can't even walk in the door and buy a Dorito for less than $1,000, you know?
Basically.
All these types of experiences. Every single one of those experiences was special because of the personal direct contact with the actual service provider. There were no exceptions. So if you're trying to attract upper end customers to you, and maybe they've never been to Monaco and had an experience like that, but they've had enough experiences, they've flown first class, maybe they've flown in Emirates, maybe they've bought an Hermes bag, maybe they've bought a nice car, they know what the difference between a really high-level service experience is and basically everybody else. You might not. You might not understand that because you haven't experienced that. Maybe you haven't aspired to experience it. But if you want to truly be a luxury agent, you really do need to lock into what the luxury customer expects. Go to a Ritz-Carlton. Go to Monaco, if you can make it happen. Have those experiences where you can see what the difference is. And here's what you'll discover. They're very personal.
Very personal.
They're not stuffy. The people are personable. They never talk about themselves. They're always asking really insightful questions about you. They'll ask follow-up questions. They'll stay and talk with you about whatever the hell it is for as long as you want to, and you never get a sense that they're rushed or they're not thinking about something else. They're not talking to other people that work there. They're not looking at their digital devices. They're 100% there and present with you. Isn't that what Julie and I have been asking you guys to do on our podcast the last 10 years? And by the way, well over 5,000 podcasts. That level of experience, that level of service, maybe you're selling in a price range that's a normal price range, and your customers never have experiences to know that's what their expectation could be. Well, you can bring that level of service to those normal price ranges, and then all of a sudden, you have that je ne sais quoi. You have that special thing that your competitors can't never match. You want to know how you have an indelible brand that lasts forever? I just told you. You make it so that, there's all kinds of little crafty ways to say it. Maya Angelou said, what was the saying she said?
They'll forget specifically what you said, but they will absolutely remember how you made them feel.
And here's the other interesting thing along with what I'm saying to you guys. The $1,000 Dorito, overpriced as hell. Okay? The $15,000 Hermes purse, overpriced as hell. All these things, if you look at them for what they are, they're really, really expensive because of the brand, because of the level of service that goes along with it. If you took that meal from that expensive restaurant and you took it to another restaurant, would the price be the same? Hell no, it wouldn't. You guys get it?
It's the experience.
It's the experience, and you're the experience. You in your real estate business are the experience. Everybody can transact. Everybody can do the paperwork. Everybody can open the door. Everybody can make a nice home brochure or do a great virtual tour. You are the actual product of your business. Please don't forget that.
It's interesting. I love that you did tie it to Monaco, because by framing it that way, you have demonstrated the point that a high level of professional, consistent communication is luxury. And if you're their first experience with that, it's okay, because now you're raising the bar, and everything else that they do, they're expecting that level of communication and that level of luxury. If you recall, I don't know, it's been a few months, we did the series about manners. There's been a big upsurge in people being more interested in high-end manners as well. And I think that communication goes into that category, that is something that specifically differentiates you from any competition that you have. And I think everybody listening can hopefully isolate an instance, an experience that you had where somebody was really good at communicating. They followed up, they asked good questions, then they asked how to follow up again. They did a great job. They even followed up after you transacted with them. That's what's memorable.
They're not sending emails. They didn't put us into drip email campaigns.
No.
They're sending us handwritten notes. They send little presents. They want you to remember them in such a way that you're going to tell other people, and you're going to obviously one day come back there, which we absolutely will, and have that experience again. You guys get the difference? So when you're looking for a way to really build a really powerful real estate practice or make yourself truly special in your marketplace, start with having meaningful conversations. You don't know what to say, you don't know how to say it. Start with using our scripts. And I know everyone hates the word script. When I sold real estate, I hated the word script too. But here all the script is. It's just a conversation outline. It just is a series of questions written in a specific order that's going to result in you determining whether you want to work with them and, frankly, whether they want to work with you. That's all a script is. So what we want you to do is we want you to memorize the script, internalize the script, and then personalize the script. Memorize it and don't change the order in which. No, what do most people do? What do hackish agents do? They get a script and they go jump to personalize because their egos say, those aren't my words. Yeah. Well, guess what? Your words aren't effective because you haven't been doing it for long enough to know what to say and how to say it. So when you memorize the script and you ask the questions in the order in which we've given them to you, and then you internalize it. What is the difference? Memorizing is just memorizing. Internalizing is when you start having little aha moments. I see why Tim and Julie asked the question there, because 3 questions lower, that question ties in with the answer from that question, and now it all is making sense. You've internalized it. You're starting to see why things work at such a high level for our coaching clients. And then the third level is that you can personalize it. We want you to personalize it. We want you to throw in some y'alls, and we want you to, make it so that it's a little bit more fun and you can make it a little bit less clinical. Absolutely. But do not go from here's the script to personalizing it. Then you're never going to get the result. That is sin number 1 that new coaching clients make, frankly,
100%.
Is they aren't willing to go through the process of earning the right to be a true real estate professional at the highest level. And guys, please remember what we are here to hopefully, internalize in all of you. You are in the right place at the right time. This is the right industry. I cannot imagine a better, you want to be in the AI industry? No, I don't. I want to be in real estate. There are more first-generation millionaires that are made in the United States from real estate. Yes, you, dear listener, buying and selling, investing. How about this? If you bought a home 4 or 5 years ago, it's doubled in value. If that home was $800,000, congratulations, you now have nearly $1 million in net worth, assuming you didn't pay cash for it in the first place. You guys get the point? So you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. If your goal is to build a fortune, be rich where your money works for you and you no longer have to work for your money, this is the way to do it. So to finish that thought, the number one way Americans build real estate or build real wealth is real estate. And then the second one is private equity. And what a lot of people will do is they build their fortune in real estate and then they start investing in other things. Private equity could be hedge funds. Private equity could be investing in small businesses, things like that. But that's the pathway forward for all of you. You have to build your real estate practice as an ATM machine. It has to create a profit. Adopt the philosophy that we give you in our best-selling book, Harris Rules. You can get that at Amazon or any of the major booksellers. It's available. We saw it at some bookstores in the airports, which is always fun. So that's your path forward. Hopefully you guys are resonating with what we're trying to say. Our mission from every podcast is to educate you is to motivate you and to get you into action. And we have one last point, point number 10.
Point number 10 is know the average number of contacts it takes and don't give up so fast. It often takes multiple contacts, sometimes in different ways of contacting them, to get a response from a prospect. According to research by InsideSales.com, it takes an average of 8 contact attempts to reach a prospect, and understanding this can help set realistic expectations and encourage your own persistence.
But let me interject. That's the reason when people call, you want to answer the damn phone.
Exactly.
That's the reason when people call, if you didn't answer the phone, which you always should answer the phone, you call them back right away. Because getting a hold of them again is not so easy. If they text you, you get back with them right away, and you have their phone number. Your way you get back with them is you call them back.
I think that's probably definitely the most important thing that we've talked about in this 2 podcast series is the importance. I think it's 2 parts. One is answer the phone in the first place because they're calling you right now, this second, with a specific question. They're calling on your listing. They're calling on your sign. They're calling about something they saw, online that they want to see. Be there when they want the answer, and you can cut out 8 more follow-up attempts.
Julie, think about how ironic it is that we're delivering this information to them primarily over voice. Now, we have YouTube, too.
Sure.
Our YouTube channel, we do not record ourselves doing these podcasts because we don't have a studio because we travel a lot.
Yep.
So it's a loop, basically. But here's the thing. You are listening to us, and you're hearing what we're saying from our voice. You're listening to our inflections. You're listening to us trying to have fun, frankly, and dramatize some of these points. Now, if you were reading what we just said, if you read Julie's script, it wouldn't have the same effect, right? It wouldn't even have anywhere near the same effect. You'd just be reading the words. You wouldn't hear all the different nuance changes and the different back and forth between Julie and I. It would just be the script. That's the reason why you call people back. Otherwise, you're just sending them essentially a script, which is what, dear listener, if you're reading what we said today versus listening to us talk about what we just shared with you today, what's the difference in effectiveness? If listening to us is a 10 out of 10, if reading versus reading a script of what we just said, what do you think? 10% as powerful and as effective and as meaningful? Maybe less? You guys get the point? Call people back.
And that's also why my private coaching clients are coaching calls, because we are connecting voice to voice. And I love it when coaching clients say, I knew you were going to call tomorrow at noon, so I did A, B, and C, right? There's a different level of accountability, of communication, of education. And our job is to educate you, motivate you, and most importantly, to get you into action faster than you might do on your own, more efficiently than you might do on your own. That's our job. So it goes both ways, right? I was thinking as you were going through all of these points, I always try and relate it to people's normal lives, right? So in the interest of voice-to-voice communication, following up the way you want to be communicated with, telling people, when you're going to call back and how, we're shopping our homeowners insurance on our rentals, right? So I've got several different people I'm talking to. The one I probably will use is who? Called me back, right? And I think it took him 3 times to connect with me because I didn't recognize his phone number. I answered the phone. He pre-qualified me. He wanted to know the age of our roofs, the age of the house, if we had any vacancy. He went through a script with me. The next day he followed up, and then he promised me going into the weekend that he would review my email because he gave me homework to get back with him, that he's going to call me Monday afternoon after he reviews the file and give me a quote. That was like a textbook follow-up.
And here's the irony of it. Let's say, for example, she went through the process with this guy that she's now investing time in, and he's investing time with her, and she finds out he's mildly more expensive than another homeowner's insurance policy. Who do you think she's going to use anyway? The guy that's already proven to be reliable that she can actually trust.
That's right.
I didn't close the loop.
Yep.
If you're interested in being one of Julie's private coaching clients, I want you to text me directly at 512-758-0206. I will text you back, and do me a favor and text me with your name and, essentially a little bit about yourself. And I'll text you back if I think you're a good fit for Julie. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set up a call. If you're a new agent, if you are not ready to have the highest level of accountability and coaching, that's okay. Go to Premier Coaching first, premiercoaching.com. You can join for free. But if you're ready for the next step and actually the 10 steps after that, you want to consider having Julie as your private coach, text me directly at 512-758-0206. Let me know about yourself. Let me know about your business. If, again, I think you're a good fit, then I'm going to match you with Julie. You guys are going to have a call. Then you'll pre-qualify each other, decide whether Julie's a good fit for you and you're a good fit for her, and then you're off to the races. She has room for 3 agents who are ready to join. And frankly, how many clients do you have? Like 15, 20?
I think, 16, something like that.
Yeah. So she wants to have right around 20 clients at all times. And we need her to have 20 clients at all times because we get a lot of information from those 20 clients. Because all of her clients are pretty much the top agents in the nation. And it makes our content better on our podcasts and our videos and all of our other stuff, because it allows us to have boots on the ground in all these different markets that you're never going to get from trailing data from home sales and things like that. So, I mean, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that really want to, be coached by Julie, but also people that are frankly the top agents in their marketplaces or are very close to being the top agents
That's
in their
right.
marketplaces.
And it's great for them too, because they join a network of like-minded, motivated individuals. They also share a lot of referrals. I know that Jeannie in Phoenix and Chris Leon in Chicago have done several deals together.
Yep.
And I feel good referring them to each other because I know them so well.
Right. So Julie is like, she's the Hermes, she's the Ferrari, right? just tying it back into. So, but we have a great experience of Premier Coaching, and that's Nordstrom's, right? Nordstrom's is awesome. So if you want to join Nordstrom's Premier Coaching, just go to premiercoaching.com. Or if you're really ready for the next level, some of you are, do text me directly at 512-758-0206. In the meantime, make sure you're going to listen to the interview we're doing this Thursday with Kevin Yoder. I've already done it. You're going to love it. And we've got a lot of great podcasts. Remember, we have over 5,000 past podcasts that are waiting for you to listen to at any time. We have probably around 25 to 30 million downloads. So this is and has been the number one listened to daily podcast for real estate agents in the nation for years. Please do us a favor. If you're over on iTunes, or if you can give us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would be great. Let the world know why this is something that our podcast has become part of your daily life. Give us a 5-star review. We'd certainly appreciate it. In the meantime, have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.